Howdy folks, Monty here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So this is a special for viewer Andrew, also a little bit for viewer Mike, also a question for the viewership as well. But before I wanted to get started, I wanted to take out my dragon, which is missing the tip of his tail. But this is the dragon miniature that I might have referred to in previous, but yeah, I was actually thinking of probably getting him fixed professionally, him done up, and probably a new paint job on him, and I don't know, soak him in Dettol for a while. The tip of his tail is well and truly broken off, and just probably getting that fixed actually properly, like having green stuff put in and making him whole again. But anyway, this was a dragon I purchased when I think I was 12 at the time. I mowed lawns and did a bunch of things one summer just so I could get this dragon. And he's particularly, I don't know, I like the feel of him in my hand. He's got sharp teeth, some horns. But yeah, I'm glad the horns didn't break off actually. The tail was probably, well, nothing's great to break off when you have an item that's precious, but in this case I think it was probably some parent or something like that. So yeah, putting the dragon aside, he doesn't have a name. I was thinking of calling him Matthew, actually, for my friend Matthew Gibson, who insisted once that I take photographs of the jacket and send them to him. So I don't know if Matthew Gibson is even in any way connected with this particular recording. Matthew, if you are, shout outs to Matthew. So I wanted to get two books. These were basically associated with my reintroduction into the hobby. The Armageddon book in particular, I've talked a little bit about Steel Legion, but Steel Legion was so seminal to me, you know, getting back into the hobby. And I used to go and buy, you know, the boxes of 10 Steel Legion. I bought about 70 of those, not 70 boxes, but 7 of them to make 70 total. And then Fred Reed painted, I don't know, probably about 150 of them. I don't know, I've got a lot of Steel Legion. I actually bought an army, which I think is where this comes from, that was a Forge World army that was part of a tournament called Black Orc Down, anyway. So you can look back probably in 2003 maybe, Black Orc Down was a thing, and yeah, there was a whole lot of Steel Legion that had been painted up in really interesting colors actually, kind of vibrant greens and blacks, so they were quite unlike the traditional Steel Legion. But anyway, the Armageddon Codex, I think I have a few of these. This one I'm pretty sure is the one that came with the army because it's got a bit of, I don't know what you call it, spine damage. What a better term. Anyway, this book was just so important to me, kind of getting back into the hobby. And the irony is my Steel Legion very rarely actually had transports. I do have some transports that Fred Reed painted for me, but just in the order of a couple. And one of them's actually a Forge World conversion. So it's an open top Chimera with like a bunch of forward-facing weapons. I should actually get them out because they are models worth showing. And shout out to viewer Mike as well, because he will be getting my salamanders, which are the other part of Steel Legion. So are they Speed Freak orcs? I can't remember. The orcs, which I think are Speed Freaks, I'm not sure. We'll need to get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. The Steel Legion and the salamanders were all critical in this book. So we start off with an introduction to the history of Armageddon. And my understanding is that there have been many more battles for Armageddon since. This was just, the aim was, I think, that people would play this game. I post-date the actual, running of the game, but there would actually be a winner for Armageddon that would be played out of the 3 factions. So it explains where it is in the solar system, so to speak. And also, obviously, there's a lot of beautiful orc imagery as well here. Talk about Ground Zero. So obviously the Imperial Guard have come to deal with the orcs. And obviously the Space Marines help as well. So here we have the various factions. Big fan of Commissar Yarrick as well. I don't think I have a Commissar Yarrick in my collection actually. I've got a wide variety. Yeah, Speed Freaks is the orc faction. So Orc Cult of Speed. And yeah, just love the Steel Legion medal. Marlon Foote was friends with Tammy Hay, who we'll get into in the next book. And he Uh, we were in some correspondence once. He had some miniatures that I think he painted or maybe even created, and was looking to sell. So I'm working on that, and yeah, never. But I love the commissar with the gas mask in particular, and I have certainly at least one example of that, if not more. Central here, Black Templars rather, not Back Templars, were also pretty central in this. But yeah, these various people who were part of the studio at the time featured very heavily. But yeah, some really nice orc stuff too, yeah. And also some Space Marine chapters. Interesting. Angels of Fire, Exorcist, Raptors, Angels of Portfire, maybe? Portfire? But yes, a wide variety and just a beautiful. I did collect some of these Stormtroopers as well, and have just the masked ones for my Steel Legion. I'm not sure. I think they're Fred Reed though. For the Steel Legion army that I had done, which I've shown briefly, which has the super heavy tank. I don't think I have any Stormtroopers as part of that. But yeah, these were great models as well. There were lots of really nice models actually that came out through this period. But obviously the the Black Templar army list. The Steel Legion was where it was at for me specifically. And a bunch of Salamander army list troops, fast attack. Chimera Special Rules or Chimera Special Rules. I don't know how people pronounce it, but leave a note in this comments if I'm mispronouncing it. But yeah, it's just this stuff was so central. And I didn't play Steel Legion as Steel Legion. I played them as Imperial Guard. The Chimera rules were nice, but I just wasn't interested in that. I just liked the idea of the mass infantry. Gaming Ideas by Jarvis Johnson. We have the final map and back cover, which shows the various things within Black Templars. Factor them into the Steel Legion stuff, but always good to get a codex out occasionally. I do have a few more, but I wanted to provide another book here because I'm not a miniature painter myself, but I do have some Tammy Hayes, and I do wonder whatever happened to Tammy Hayes, and my hope is that someone in the comments will know of what happened to Tammy Hayes and write it accordingly. But how to paint Citadel miniatures, they were all done at various times, but this one was associated with getting various painters, and here we have Rick Priestley himself, Nottingham 2003, writing the preface. A bunch of stuff associated with materials. These things are pretty well standard. Games Workshop Fair. I guess, parents buying miniatures for their kids will want to get painting guides for them. Assembling metal models. Look at these beautiful metals. Stuff with blue tack. Probably dates it. Creating extended models, vehicles with other stuff. So mine is like this, but has, I think, a heavy bolter on the front. Anyway, I'll get it out eventually. It'll be shown. I do like this arm cutting diagram as well. Assembling plastic models. Love the dragon. Gap filling. Green stuff. How to spray models. All the usual good stuff that you'd expect in a painting guide up front. And then we talk about techniques, and I think this book was a breakthrough because it gave however many different models and the various techniques that people use to paint it. This is a very traditional wargame painting method. I don't think, is it Kevin Dallimore? Folks will know in the comments. Drop me a link in the comment in the comments if I'm not saying that right, but I think it is Kevin Dallimore's method of painting, where you just basically have levels and avoid doing any of the main face details because you've just leveled it up. Beautiful orc work as well. Colour wheel, always important in a painting guide to have some colour theory, and so it goes. Dry brushing, probably one of the only painting techniques I know. I use highlighting too, let's be honest here. Dry brushing and highlighting, they're my two main. I wish I'd gone more into glazes, but unfortunately just never did. Highlights. Yeah, it's interesting because when I paint models, they never turn out anything. Like the cost benefit analysis associated with painting models is just, I mean, I've got a bunch of shields, for example, that I need for my dwarves, and I just want to find a painter who will paint the shields for me to a certain skill level. I tried painting some of them myself and then just realized, no, I need to, this is something that I'm willing to pay for, basically. So painting has always been like that for me. Yeah, I mean, you've seen the results on this channel. So if I'm the one lone YouTuber that still pays commission painting, that's unfortunately my bailiwick to my burden for doing it. But I think I've effectively missed Tammy Hayes. I mean, I think that's coming up, actually. I think the discussion associated with specific painting techniques. Okay, now maybe we're getting into this stage by stage. I'm pretty sure Tammy Hayes did the Eldar, if I'm remembering correctly. And so when we get to the Eldar model specifically. Here we go. I think this is Tammy Hayes. Yep, here we are. A series of stages by Tammy Hay. There we go. So if anyone knows what happened to Tammy Hay, please let me know. We were friends on Facebook for many, many years. And then I think I just dropped off Facebook in some regard, and probably she dropped off too. And anyway, I've completely lost contact with Tammy. But fascinating to know whatever happened to her. She was at BBC for a period of time. She was working on Doctor Who and doing various like fashion, clothing stuff things, you know. So yeah, just some really interesting stuff. I do like this orc painted here with greys and reds too. This is a very non-traditional. Who actually did the orc? Is there a name associated with this? I don't see a name. I guess it doesn't have the Tammy Hay here name appeal, because obviously Tammy Hay was a heavy metal painter for a number of years too, and so name recognition was pretty good there. Simon Tift as a croup model technique. So some of them they're actually naming them. But who's done the high elf here? John Cadence. Or Cadence. Yeah, no, Cadence seems to be his name. Oh, Blanchewy. The very end. A now retired gentleman. We've got colours and paints. Got the final. So anyway, let's assemble the images. So this is especially for viewer Andrew, wanting to know any books that inspired me. Certainly the Armageddon Codex is there, and I just wanted to film the How to Paint Citadel miniatures to see if we know whatever happened to Tammy Hay. Anyway, Tom Barbalet in Las Vegas, Nevada, signing out.